Shalom everyone. Today I would like to speak about the special time that we are in, the 50th day of the counting of the Omer, the 50 days that we're counting from first fruit until the Feast of Weeks or the Feast of Pentecost. And let's look at those special events for us, the follower of Christ, Jew and Gentiles, how important and how special are those days for us. So we start with the Passover feast, and then Jesus is the Passover lamb that crucified, and he is the ultimate sacrifice to us. On the third day of Passover, Jesus is risen from the dead. That's the day of resurrection, and in the Western world is known as Easter. Jesus was risen on the feast of Passover from the dead. This is the beginning of the counting of the Omer. After he had risen from the dead, he's walking, teaching, going to Galilee, returning back to Jerusalem. And on the 40th day of the counting of the Omer, he ascended to heaven and by cloud, and he promised that he will return back to earth by cloud and establish his kingdom when he will return back to Jerusalem, to the Mount of Olives, and we will start the kingdom with Jesus on earth as he promised. On the 50th day, we will celebrate the Feast of Weeks, and that's the end of the counting of the Omer. In Mount Sinai, Moses received the law of Moses during the Feast of Pentecost or Weeks, and in Jerusalem, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit on the believers, the 120, and later the 3,000 that were baptized in water, received the Holy Spirit. That happened on the 50th day of the counting of the Omer, which is also Feast of Weeks. During those 50th days, we have also special days that we celebrate in modern days Israel, and it's going to give us much more greater picture how those days, those 50 days, are special and important to remember biblical events, but also to remember modern day events. And I will start with Holocaust Memorial Day, also being celebrated every year during the counting of the Omer. Remember the 6 million Jews that was murdered by the German Nazis and their assistants in Europe. And we have Soldiers Memorial Day, all the soldiers that died in the wars of Israel from 1948 until the last war, Iron Swords War, that started in October 7th, 2023. This is also being celebrated during the feast, during the counting of the Omer, and leading us to the Feast of Weeks. Independence Day of modern day Israel, the 77th day, was celebrated last week from 48 until 2025. Those are 77 years. And in modern days Israel, many people walking with flags and celebrating and grilling meat. And this is another day that is being celebrating during the counting of the Omer. And the fourth one that's being celebrated in the counting of the Omer is the Jerusalem Day. We're celebrating the unification of Jerusalem after 2,000 years. And again, celebrating with flags, dancing around the Western Wall and the old city walls in Jerusalem. And we're celebrating the unification and the liberation of Jerusalem in modern days back to Jewish hands, to Israeli hands, after 2,000 years of being in the hands of Gentiles. And this is another special day. So this is the 50 days of the counting of the Omer, biblical events, modern day events. They are all in those 50 days. It's such a blessed time, and to know all those things and to see how the old and the new combine together in the rich history of the Jewish people in Israel. And of course, the greater Israel is the Gentiles that grafted in to the root, to the olive tree, and forming the one new man, the Jew and Gentile. Thank you so much.